when you're looking for the fastest car in the world, this is where you'll come to. Yes, that is right. This is the Bugatti Chiron in Forza Motorsport 7, and today, well, we're gonna see how it does. Now, like I said, this car is well known for its amazing top speed. It's 1500 horsepower and just incredible price tag. And, well, is it worth it? Is the question on everyone's minds. So, we'll get into it. This, like I said, is a 2018 Bugatti Chiron, so it goes into production this year. And if you want to purchase this thing from the auto show, it costs 1,550,000 credits. Now, you can only get this car in Forza Motorsport 7 if you have the February car pack, the Dell's car pack, and you get one of the versions of the car for free. So, if you haven't already redeemed it, then definitely do, because this thing is insane. Now, obviously, we come to Le Mans because we can test out its incredible top speed. Listen to that engine roar. It is a crazy engine. But anyway, like I said, horsepower figures 1,479. It has 1,180 foot-pounds of torque and weighs 4,398 pounds. Now, 1,500 horsepower and 4,400 pounds, that's a lot. But it is a pretty good power to weight ratio. When you're driving this car, it does feel very, very light and very, very nimble. And it doesn't feel like it weighs that much. Well, weight. Grip wise, this is where we have some issues. It's got 285s on the front, 355s on the rear, which are humongous, and it has sport tyres as standard. It is also all-wheel drive. Now, this is probably one of the biggest problem factors for the Chiron, is the grip just isn't there. Now, obviously, they have to keep it on sport tyres because it's a road legal supercar, well, hypercar. And if they put it on race tyres, it wouldn't be road legal anymore. So that is something we can't really change. But tyre wise, only 285s on the front. It can lead to a hell of a lot of understeer. But then if you put any power on through a corner, it will just neutral steer. And what this means is, for an all-wheel drive vehicle, if you put power on that you see there, that was more of a power slide. But if you put too much power on and you kind of like try to correct it, it will just kind of neutral steer its way off the track, which makes it incredibly awkward to drive. But apart from that, it is mid-engine, so that does some things, and it has a humongous quad turbocharged 8-litre W16 engine. Yeah, seriously. And that confuses me how they get that much horsepower out of a quad turbo 8-litre W16, because that's two V8s put together with two twin turbos. Now, if you played Forza Horizon 3, which obviously isn't the realistic thing, you can get 1,500 horsepower of a twin turbocharged V12. So you would expect to get a bit more out of the Chiron, should I say? But you know, like I said, Forza's not realistic, and maybe it's not possible to get 1,500 horsepower out of a twin turbo V12. But anyway, with all this, with this all-wheel drive and mad amount of horsepower, it goes from 0 to 60 in 2.4 seconds. It goes from 0 to 100 in 4.9 seconds. It reaches 200 miles an hour faster than some hot hatches reach 60. That is incredible. Like, seriously incredible. You cannot, like, fault the speed of this car. It goes 60 to 0 in 134 feet, which is impeccable. 100 to 0 in 307 feet, and that is really good, because this car is going so much faster than everything else, and it weighs a lot. So having to stop that momentum means you need humongous brakes, and this car really does do very well on the braking front. Now, it's very good that we come onto Le Mans straight while we're doing the top speed, because I don't remember the top speed of the Chiron in real life, but in the game it is only 269 miles an hour. Well, I say only, that is massively fast. It's humongously fast. But you would expect it to be a bit better. But who knows? And as you can see at this speed, the tyres are going crazy. They're just constant tyre smoke. You come around the corners, just constant tyre smoke. And the tyres just cannot cope with it, and that is the limiting factor of the Chiron. The reason it can't reach a really high top speed and go fast for a very long time is, one, because the tyres will just explode. Like running the Chiron at its top speed for, if you're playing in real life, obviously, will burn out the tyres in like 12 minutes. Not even that, it burns them out in like 8 minutes. And then also, with how much fuel this thing uses, at full whack, this Chiron will run out of fuel from a max fuel tank in 12.5 minutes. And that is crazy. Like, I'm sorry, but it's just crazy. But overall, this car's very good. I just have a few nitpicky issues with it. It's pretty oversteery for a four-wheel drive car, and I think that's just because when Bugatti tuned this car, they put more of the power towards the rear end. Obviously rear-wheel drive, mid-engines, usually some good handling, but 1500 horsepower to the rear wheels, well, most of it to the rear wheels, doesn't really help, and it's not incredibly good in a way because it just kind of slides around. And the grip, it's alright, but then there's a lot of neutral steer. You can get quite a bit of understeer. And overall, I think this car is just too fast for its own good. Now, we will get into that when you see us do the drifting in a bit. You'll see this car is just way too fast for its own good. And it really does hit you by surprise by how quickly this thing accelerates. And, you know, you can't really fault the car for that because that's what it's made for, but it just doesn't have the handling you would really, really want from a four-wheel drive 1500 horsepower hypercar. I mean, the brakes are phenomenal, though. They are genuinely phenomenal. But anyway, we must now take it to the drag strip, where this thing obviously isn't going to have much of an issue. It's got four-wheel drive, 1500 horsepower, and what we're really putting this up against is the Koenigsegg 1-to-1, because there's nothing else that really compares it to, and it's over already. The Bugatti Chiron goes into second place with a 9.009, which is a quarter of a second slower than that Koenigsegg 1-to-1, and that thing is phenomenally fast. That thing is crazy, and that is really what we're putting this up against. Now, like I said, you'll see that this car is way too fast for its own good, because this was the second to last lap I did, and every lap up to now I managed to mess up the first corner, not because it was hard to drift, but because when you go on the power, it just neutral steers. It just neutral steers, and you don't turn, you don't really drift, you just slide off the track. And coming up these hills, you would be hitting like 200 miles an hour and getting air over these things. It was crazy, and you really had to full on put the brakes down for coming into this bridge drift in a way. But overall, do I like drifting this thing? Nope. It's just got too much horsepower. It's just too unwieldy. You actually have to wrestle this car around a circuit when you drift. I mean, it's very good for getting these long drifts because it just does spin up its wheels like that. I think that's the first car I've actually got it all the way around that corner. Power, just with the power and just drifting. And that's just because of how much power it has, because of how easy it is to get sliding, but it can also be incredibly difficult to just hold. And you'll hear me now, I'm feathering the throttle a lot, whereas with some cars I just full on put the power down. Because with this car, you put the full power down, you get 1500 horsepower to mostly the rear wheels and some to the front wheels, and it just ends up neutral steering, and it's not incredibly good. But I mean, this isn't what the car's built for. This car's built for top speed. It's not even built for going around a circuit really well, because it doesn't do that very well either. But I can extend the lap now, and because this car is so fast, it drifts incredibly quickly, and you do get around this lap of Maple incredibly quickly. Come around the final corner now, and it was a very, very clean drift indeed, and the massive acceleration up to the straight line. The Bugatti Chiron goes into 3rd place with 35,656, which is 1,000 behind the Ford GT, but 1,000 in front of the Mercedes-Benz A45 AMG. I expect it just to be around here because it is a very hard car to drift and you do have to actually wrestle it about. But now, we are here on the Suzuka Full Circuit where this is the real test of the Bugatti Chiron. Now, obviously this car is going to have its advantages and it's going to have its disadvantages. Coming around these corners, coming around this first corner, it is horrific. You just go really quickly into it and you end up outbraking yourself a lot of the time. And then you come up to these S curves now, and this car, you just, oh my god, it is just horrible. I'm not even going to lie. Because you'll get, you know, 4-wheel drive understeer, which is alright, but then when you try and correct it, you put a bit more power in because, oh yeah, you get the rear end sliding a little tiny bit, and the rear end will go crazy, and it doesn't really help. And like I say, I'm actually not purposely sliding this thing, it just kind of goes, and you cannot actually keep it full throttle around the Dunlop curve. That, like, this is what really that slows this car down, the Dunlop curve, because you have to be so slow around it, because if you put full power on, you just go wide. The Degner's obviously very good, the brakes are impeccable, and the acceleration out the corners, you are massively fast in these acceleration zones, faster than most cars will be getting on the bloody back straight, like in the acceleration zones. And obviously up the uphill here we've got 4-wheel drive. The thing is, we will spin our wheels up a little bit because obviously the Chiron doesn't have as much grip as you'd really like it to. And now coming around this long right hander, it is very not nice. Like, you cannot keep it full power just because it's got too much power, it's too fast for its own good, and like, you cannot keep it full power anywhere. Now, spoon was a awkward one because sometimes you'd do well, sometimes it wouldn't. It really depends on how the Chiron was feeling. This time obviously I nailed it and I was very happy with that, and we was onto the back straight, and now we was accelerating so damn fast, and we hit a new top speed on this back straight of 190 miles an hour, and then we still had a massive braking zone because, yeah, the Chiron's brakes are incredible, but they're just not incredible enough to get it stopped from 190 very quickly. Now we're coming up to the Casio triangle, which is obviously very good for this Chiron, except from the fact it just likes to spin its wheels up. I'm through the final corner now, and it's just a massive acceleration towards this start-finish straight, and obviously this is where it will get all its advantages, acceleration zones, and the time it loses not being able to go full throttle around some of these corners. It does make up on the straights and the acceleration zones, but it wasn't enough. The Chiron goes into 3rd place with a 2:18.605, which is 0.2 of a second slower than the Porsche 911 GT2 RS, but a second faster than the Ford GT. Also, the Koenigsegg 1-to-1 is 4 seconds faster round this lap than the Chiron is, and that shows how incredibly fast that 1-to-1 is. But this Chiron, it is overall an incredible car. And obviously I give my final verdict here. And do you buy the car pack, or do you buy this car? Obviously, why wouldn't you? Yeah, you did see me losing it a little bit here. That's because I tried to put it around full power, it just does not work. But yeah, you definitely want to get the car pack just for this car because it is an incredible car, and the car pack has other incredible cars as well. So that's not something you should really be worrying about. The car pack is genuinely great this month, and this car is genuinely incredible. Now, obviously, it has its issues like all the other cars. The interior is great, the looks are impeccable, the sound of this thing is phenomenal. It sounds so meaty and so great and so growly. It is a very good sounding engine. It is very fast, it's very good at accelerating, it's very good on the brakes, but just the through corner traction isn't the best. Very easy to get sliding, very easy to get understeering, and can be a bit unwieldy on the straights. But it is definitely a great car. And tell me down below what you think of the Chiron, and what you think it could do better as. Also, comment down below what car you want to see us do next. I think the next car we'll be reviewing is the Kia Stinger. We will be getting back to the hot hatch week soon. I just forgot this. Like, I knew the car was coming out, but it came out 4 days earlier than what they said it was. So, you know, I can't really fault them for that, given the content early, but I had to change plans very quickly. But yeah, leave a like and subscribe for more car reviews like this in the future. Obviously, comment down below what you think of the Chiron and what car you want to see next. Other than that, we'll probably be doing the Kia Stinger because I'm very excited to drive that thing. But yeah, that's it from me, Tim Diesel Hyper, signing out.